Hi guys, I'm working on annual 2019 Taroscopes. They're actually lots of fun. They give you lots of insight about every single segment of your life, and it's kind of like divided by quarters. It's divided by section of your life, and it's going to be a really interesting guide. It was really well received last year. So now this is your time to get them one sign for 1995 or all signs. So you can check your ascendant, you can check your moon sign, you can check your friends, you know, somebody that you're like having an eye on for $39.95. It is a really good time to order right now, because the moment when I deliver the first one, the price is going up to $29.95 and to $39.95. So yeah, I invite you to order. Like, the link is down in the description. You can see it, you can go right there, and this is like really good time to take advantage of. So for those of you who are steady subscribers, please, you know, do that. It's great for you, it's great for me to support my channel. And those of you who are here the first time, you can actually check my timelines, and you can see I released them somewhere late in July, so you can see how they look like. Okay guys, so let's start with the reading. Hello Capricorn, and welcome to your November / next 30 days reading from whenever you are like watching this, because there is a reason why you are here. So I'm actually doing something else that I used to do, because there are certain signs that are really eager and there are certain signs that are not eager. So I'm actually doing this in order of basically your likes, in order of how many comments I have. So just like make sure that you're clicking this like, that you're subscribing, you see this button, and all of that counts toward your basically rank for the next time reading. So meditation on your sign. Oh, before I get there, also general reading, guys. What does that mean? This is not just for one person, and not two people are alike, right? Even if you're twins. So just check your moon sign, check your ascendant at the very least. So this is going to give you a little bit more kind of like fuller picture. Of course, you know, you can find me at cattarot.ca if you wish a private reading. So I'm getting awesome for you. So I'm actually really looking forward to this reading. And so let me just see what other additional messages we have. Capricorn, what messages we have for the next 30 days. This one might to come out. Ebb and flow, kind of like go with the flow, pretty clear. And then Capricorn, messages for the next 30 days. Nothingness. It's a good card. It's a very good card. Empty your mind, kind of like see what has to go out. It's a sort of like a spring cleaning on your inner system. Wow, codependency. It is really interesting because codependency is vibrating with the devil sign, which the devil card, which represents you, and I kind of like never managed to digest that you are represented with the devil. I know that you guys are horn dogs, sorry, but still I think it should be something better. So there is another one, the version that I use for my Instagram and for my Facebook. So if you're not already there, like in the description you have the link to it, please join. The horned one is the version in Leveling Tarot, which I use, and kind of like it would make more sense. It's really talking about somebody who is like very in touch with earth element. Okay, let's see more messages for my Capricorns. I'm getting two. Soulmate and psychic. I like it. Well, this clearly is awesome. So I just have to see if this codependency is something I have to tell you as a warning, or if this is something that simply is just kind of describing things. So where do we start? Well, let's start with this psychic, right? Earth element is generally not known for being psychic, but what you have and what the other signs, I guess psychic signs, Pisces, Scorpios and Aquarians have, is like that huge ability to ground yourself, to balance yourself, to kind of like understand where exactly you're going, right? And to know, hey, wait a minute, I'm not going to do that, it makes no sense, where the rest of us are overspenders, overthinkers, everything over, right? And just like too much, even of a good thing, it's just like too much. So it says your psychic powers are being enhanced. Use this gift wisely. Well, welcome to the spender's world. I think you guys being very diligent, that you're using certain intuition to probably prepare yourself for Christmas. I can see shopping. I can see you guys hating the Christmas rush. I can see you guys saying, forget about it. I'm going to take care of the deals. I don't want to buy these like cheesy things, because after all, you're one classy sign. You want the best, but you also want to treat other people with the best they can offer. So you don't mind spending money if there is quality. So, and you know that if you give something that is like of a quality, it's going to be something that is long lasting. So I can definitely see taking really good care of your loved ones, but also I see that you will be probably getting tarot reading. I also see that you probably are going to get interested, maybe even go to my tarot school, which I have to postpone for January because of the annual readings. Or at the very least, buy yourself a deck and kind of like see what is in it. It's kind of like very interesting, and maybe meditate on one card per day, right? You might surround yourself with people who are psychic, and maybe you were not as open to it before, but now you will be, right? Now you're not going to see this like a Miss Chirubiru, right? Kind of like abracadabra kind of a thing. You're going to see how this is basically a tool, and this is what makes my channel a little bit different from the others. I don't tell them, well, somebody's coming, they're going to bring you a rose, they're going to knock on your door. No, I actually really try to kind of like have this as a healing strategy where we can kind of like see what we can a little bit reposition. And sometimes it's just like decorating the room. You just position yourself on a different wall, and all of a sudden the entire layout works. So I'm just trying to guide you, and even if the messages are bad, the symbol tells you, well, just go around it, otherwise you're going to kind of trip on it. Well, the second card is actually very lovely, like soulmate. I didn't see in quite a while here. And look at this here. Somebody is jumping it in. It kind of like looks like yin and yang, and it's a process. And even if you kind of like want to be a little bit more abstract, right, it does look like hands. But now when you kind of like look at from the further apart, you see two swans. They're kind of like seeing each other eye to eye. So there is somebody who will be entering your life right now, or just about to come into your life. Awesome. And that's the word I overuse, so pardon me if I kind of like mention it quite a few times, because this is really good. So this is going to be almost like you're going to think yourself in this person. You know what they say, when the time arrives, teacher appears. Well, when the time arrives, a soulmate appears. But is this soulmate going to again lift some old patterns on the surface? Is it going to be karmic soulmate, twin flame, or is it going to be just like one of those, like forever kind of a thing? So it's going to be somebody who is not going to be perfect. That I can tell you right out of the gate. It's going to be somebody who is going to have quite a colorful personality, and it might be somebody that maybe ordinary you would not look into. It's going to be an attractive one, that's for sure, but a little bit oddball. So you have like this no thingness as well, because it's almost like telling me that you need to clean that slate. Nothingness means everything, because like this is not nothingness, it's like no thing. Do not focus, because usually you do. That's like your modus operandi, right? You kind of like focus, this is where I'm going and I'm heading there, and being an earth sign, you get there, right? This is like, when it comes to this, you need to kind of open up, because it tells me that maybe prior to this you have been attracting people who would push this codependency buttons. Okay, so let's talk about codependency. I'm not going to make a speech out of it. On my other channel, description in the box, I do have sort of like that art therapy guidance through codependency. So it's generally, if you find yourself in a situation where you desperately really want to be with someone, where you feel, oh my god, I cannot breathe, I cannot live without this person, I'm like in so much pain, right? That's not healthy love, and it's certainly not love. Because, you know, that saying, love is gentle, love is kind. Even if we lose somebody, right, like, we are not devastated. Just like, think about losing a parent. Oh, actually, I shouldn't even take you there, because it's a horrible, horrible thought. But what I meant with this was, like, there is like that sadness, right? But there is like love. There is like sadness because we want them in our life, but there is like enormous love that is like still coming to the surface and staying there like many, many decades later. So if you know, my dad is like suffered stroke, so he's really not doing well at this stage. So this is kind of like very painful subject for me, but like that love is going to stay. And there we go. Aquarians hate to be vulnerable. I was thinking, okay, let me stop it there, and I'm going to erase this part. It went through my head. And then I said to myself, I'm dealing with Earth, and they get it. They are the ones who are going to give you this soft place to fall. So where do we really go next? This is really telling me that these patterns that you had, like something that you have been attracted maybe to somebody who's like very attractive, but would basically, you know, mess with you. They were not transparent, they were not reliable, they were not, you know, helpful in that pragmatic kind of a way that you really, really like. It's not going to be able to do that. You're going to like people who actually want to follow some new rules, and the rule is they should not cheat, they should be reliable, they should call when you say you do, and we are kind of like going in one direction. And the moment, and that's where your psychic nose is going to kind of tell you quite a bit of things that can kind of like come and kind of like go your way, because it's almost like that. I mean, spying is not going to be needed, mind you. Like, I mean, the air signs are good for spying online, but earth signs are really, really good for kind of like figuring people out. There is somebody is trying to kind of like pull a really, really fast one on them. This is going to be different, guys. It's going to be like, look, this is not making me feel good. Not at all. And because it's not making me feel good, I'm not going to kind of like go with this. So let's kind of like talk about it, let's clear about it, and the person is still evasive, off you go, kind of a thing. Guys, you know, you need to clear this path. With soulmate coming, look at the energy. Energy is created. So do you really want somebody inadequate to step in this path and go for one more cycle of some issues? This also can talk about somebody being an addict, sex addict, alcohol addict, drug addict, workaholic, name it, all like, right, that you add at the end. So you really, really need to think about it. This card here, nothingness, it clearly shows that you are turning a new leaf. You're kind of going in a completely new direction, and that direction will be very, very helpful. So lastly, I didn't address the ocean card, but I think this is very self-explanatory. Things are going in cycles. This month is going to be very fluid for you, I have to say, and it's kind of like art of living. These two cards are so lovely when they're combined together, because it's not going to be just like things in your life, but it's going to be also emotions. And kind of like, don't be obsessed, because the codependency, I think another word for that is obsession, right? And you cannot stop yourself. That's the difference, right? Going in addiction, like, and not just being just plainly obsessed, right? So also, this tells me that some of you, in order to move forward, in order to be strong, you are denying yourself your emotions. When was the last time, Capricorn, you gave yourself a big hug? I kind of like feel that for quite a while you have been trying to do something solid, something that is kind of like future looking, something that you kind of like want to leave as your legacy. Work really, really hard, and in spite of like all the steps and all the bricks, they were not kind of like holding together, and you have accumulated some emotions, whether this is like hurt or anger or sorrow, and it's almost like that you nurture them, right? And you have to keep in mind that at this stage, this is calling for you to let it go. Simply let it go, because they will come, and when they come, don't suppress them. Just say, okay, let me sit this 5 minutes. If it comes at work, go to the bathroom and just like breathe through it. Just say, look, you're probably coming to me continuously because I need to learn something, right? You have those abilities to understand them and funnel them out. Embrace both good and bad, because this is like so lovely to even have feelings. Imagine that some people just cannot feel what you feel. You know, they say love and lost is better than not being in love at all. And of course, when we are hurt, we don't think that way for sure, right? But otherwise, we kind of like understand that kind of like higher level. So be very careful that you do not repeat another cycle. But I really think that this is kind of like done with allowing things to get out of your system. You see, when things are bottled up, so just think about it, you have a glass of, I don't know, water, and it's kind of like trying to come out, so it means it's open, some yucky stuff is kind of generating in it, and the more you try to suppress it, the worse it's going to be. So the way out is like, wash it, let it go. It doesn't serve any purpose anymore. Sure, you have learned stuff, but you don't have to emotionally suffer anymore. So I'm going to do now, I'm going to shuffle cards, and you're going to do check the other messages. I'm going to clarify that with Gypsy. So let's do that to continue. Okay, this is actually pretty lovely. You have here 3 of Sea. So this is kind of like 3 of Cups, 3 of Water, right? And so in this deck, we have cats forming different clans, right? So it's very much similar with people. We kind of like people who are like us. They have the same religion, they have the stuff. But this is really talking about, again, expand. Just look what we saw it over there. Don't limit yourself. It could be kind of like strange fellows that are going to be found at, like, I mean, the most unlikely places. So it almost like sounds to me that friendship bridges differences and kind of like finds those common delights. So whether or not you were trying to, let's say, try different cuisines, and all of a sudden you're kind of like having such a wonderful time, and you're talking to the people at the next table, and next thing you know, they're inviting you, go next time with us, or something like that, right? So I definitely see that true friends over here are going to be with you for you. As I said, you also have the Psychic card, which kind of like talks about the connection that's going to be very, very prominent, and bonds are going to be very, very strong and strengthened by very simple times together, even maybe sitting in a complete silence. It's like that comfort zone, knowing each other. And let's say you're having a lunch together and you're silent and yet very, very comfortable. So make a point of getting together with your friends soon, and remember that others take the same pleasure in your company that you take in theirs. So it doesn't really require a special occasion, and just being together, it's enough. This is a lovely, lovely friendship card. So this is really time for you to celebrate friendships in your life. So let's see. Wow, we have 9 of Earth. So this is like really, really good card for you guys. The 9 of Earth is talking about life pleasures. It's talking about you understanding where you're positioned in life, and you're feeling good about it. I'm feeling good, right? And look at the kitty. Like, there is the exit. Yeah, there is unknown. I could just go and explore, but nah, I'm going to sleep. Just like my 2 fur balls are now in the bedroom, both lying down on my weighted blanket, and they're just simply enjoying themselves. They just wait for me to come every hour and kiss them and tell them they're beautiful and smart. So there is everything that you have. Look at this. I have catnip, I have milk, I have warmth, and I am like on a pedestal over here. Why else would I need something else? It is like total enjoyment about the situation where we are positioned in life. It's a very lovely card. That card is to me almost like mandatory card for somebody who is trying to embark on the next level, which is being with somebody else. You need to be fully happy. You need to be fully able to make it on your own, fully able to kind of like resolve thin skin syndrome, and kind of like laugh, but mostly laugh at ourselves. And at that stage, we are actually really able to open our arms to the other people in our life, because that's going to form healthy relationships. And then we have here 8 of Earth reverse. Now, this is kind of strange that I'm having 2 earth signs. It's going stepping forward, stepping backward, like sort of like you're being very intrigued this month with different things. And this card to me talks about details. You are usually very, very strict about details, just like your sister Virgo sign. So this here, we see the kitty training the little ones and saying, okay, I'll show you how to hunt, I'll show you what to do, and then you're going to repeat, right? And you're going to repeat it until you get it done perfectly, right? So I think work habits and how things are done and perfectionism is definitely kind of like buried in here. I see that. And actually funny, you're going to step away from it. You're going to be more loosey-goosey. You're going to be more, yeah, okay, it's not exactly perfect, but it's okay, I'm fine with this. And actually that attitude is going to make you be less stressed out. That's the ebb and flow that we saw it over here. It's going to make you kind of like embrace things easier. So going to just like find yourself the next month is going to feel like vacation. Everything goes, hey, you brought me margarita instead of pina colada. No, that's okay. Next one will be pina colada. Kind of a things. Oh, now you're reminding me I should probably take a vacation. It's probably going to be during your sign in January, unless you guys keeping me busy with readings. So okay, so let's see what is next. Oh, consequences. It came reversed. There is like some kind of like entanglement that kind of like is still on your mind. Maybe you're involved in a situation where you really shouldn't be. Maybe you took on too much upon yourself. Maybe this is really talking about fairness. Maybe you have been edgy. Maybe other people were edgy in your life and you responded in kind, and now this is going back and forth and Stanley and Ollie kind of a thing, right? So this is really asking you, again, go back to that friendships. I'm just like take this like 3 of things. Go back to your friendships. If something is like that you need to undo, or if you're in a relationship, just like loosen up. Don't take things like, in overly analytical and overly processed way. Yes, they're like big things that are non-negotiable, and these big things should be like those new rules you're applying, but they're like small things, you know, don't sweat the small stuff kind of a thing. So let's see what is in the past. Oh yeah, I can see that 3 of sky. And I don't know whose readings I was doing yesterday when my cats knocked off, and I don't know if you can see it, my crystals are there. And the cat was walking on the table and was like literally knocking them off, just like here. This is to me a card, and we have these 2 3s. This is a card of rejection. This is a card of things breaking down, things being placed in the wrong time, wrong place. You know what they say, rejection is God's protection. But also we have a hope here. We have this wind chime. And wind chime is what increases energy. Wind chime is like something that you can put in your home and momentarily is lifting things up, right? So in Feng Shui, in this like Eastern method of positioning, and I really like to organize my home with that thing. Of course, I like to have design properly done, because that's my past life, kind of like designing. But at the same time, I really want this art of placement, so there's kind of like that flow happening. So I can see things being badly off, like, and maybe this is the codependency that you have been dealing with. There was like a harsh edge that maybe you have been on the receiving end. This also can tell me that could have been a breakup of a relationship. It could be even a breakup of a marriage over here. And you have been dealing with maybe other things, maybe things at work, maybe there are like too many things on a plate. Maybe this simply talks about you figuring it out and saying, well, you know, and I get it. The next thing I want to say is, before I get there, like, we live in strange times. We live where we date online. And trust me, I'm a little bit older than probably most of you. I'm like getting to my mid-40s. And like 15 years ago, when kind of like I was intensely dating, like, online dating was shameful. If you said to people that you met online, people would, ooh, what's wrong with you, right? Well, what was the alternative? Bars. And I'm not a bar person, right? So problem is that back then, people who would go online were actually people who wanted real relationship and who couldn't find it in their circle and who didn't like bars. So my choices were really, really good. Fast forward 15 years later, anybody is online, whether they're married, they are like separated, they just had an argument with their mate. Let me put my profile, let's see what it is. Some people are there just because, you know, hey, you know, nobody's not going to know, I'm just going to do it. So people tell you things in order to serve themselves. So it is really, really difficult out there. So sifting through that takes time, takes effort, and it takes our hope going up and down, right? Because each date is a possible hope. But what I wanted to say is that some people take this online dating like a menu. I want mushrooms, and I want them with sauce, and I want a duck, but the duck has to be not too greasy. Hello, duck is always greasy. And I really want, I don't know, Cobb salad. Well, sir, we don't serve Cobb salad in this restaurant. Oh, that's too bad. Then I'm out. So what I'm trying to say is that we all have to kind of like really look at this criteria and kind of like select this criteria and put them into categories. This must be, and that must be cannot be more than 3, and must be cannot be tall. Kind of a thing, or rich. It depends what you want. Some people just want to get married and have more of an arranged marriage type of a style, where kind of like there is like not necessarily love. Melania Trump and Donald Trump come to mind, but you know, she wants financial security, he wants something beautiful. If you want to live that, sure, that's a possibility. And I really think that you in the past maybe looked in this kind of like exchange, and you got really, really hard on yourself and gave yourself like minuses. I am bad here and bad here and bad here. You're kind of like cutting all these grades for yourself without realizing the uniqueness you're bringing to the table. And I really think that something that has happened kind of like made you reconsider who you really are, and made you realize, wait a minute, I am judging myself so harshly, and all these people that I've met, what the hell is wrong with them, right? So you're realizing, okay, well, maybe I'm underselling myself. And I'll tell you a situation, and that was one of my dates, and it was a few years back. And I went out with this guy, and both of us had a little bit too much to drink. Okay, never get drunk, but he got drunk quite a bit. And then, you know what they say in truth, in vino veritas, the truth is in the wine, like, I mean, people tell you. So the date was obviously not going well. If somebody gets drunk, that I have to tell you, because I do understand drinking can get out of hand really quickly, especially because at the time you're drinking, you don't know what's going to happen half an hour later. So anyway, this is what he said to me. He said, well, I always consider myself a 6. I didn't think he was a 6, but okay, I mean, grading people like that is kind of like really weird. This was basically his little kind of like speech, vulnerable and sensitive, and kind of like, of course, I gave him a big hug after that. And he said, and I went online and I was trying to date all these women who I consider 6 as well. And he said, one after another rejection, and they wanted something different and better. And he said like few of them even told him that straight up. So he said, and he lowered his criteria down to 5 or 4. And he said, like, to me, truly, is really needed a good heart. I really, really want somebody. And this guy is like, I mean, professor at university, right? So And he said, and then again, I'm not getting response. So he said, then I kind of like step aside. And one day I got mad and I started dating. Like, I said, I'm going to try with 9s and 10s. And he says, look, I'm sitting with you. And he quoted me 9, and don't think that I think that about myself. And you're like so nice, and you're so friendly, and you're so kind. And I didn't get any of that. So he said, how could I not kind of like see that in me? Of course, he was a Capricorn. And I really think that you guys are waking up from that delusion that you have been suffering. It is really time to see how great you are and what you can contribute, right? You know how for so many years we didn't like nerds, and now we can see, okay, well, maybe they still don't have social skills that we would really want, but it's easier to teach them how to eat with a fork and a knife than, you know, teach them to be a nice human being. So what is above? We have 5 of Cups. So I absolutely see that some of you are really still living under that bad taste and impression that things have made for you by some experience in the past. Or this could be just simply accumulation of things that have bogged you down, that you talked yourself into, that, you know, it's kind of like the world. You need to let it go. You absolutely need to let it go. So what is ahead? 9 of Sky. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So I really feel that you bottled up quite a bit of things. So this is all telling me what needs to go. Like I told you in the very beginning, you guys are actually really releasing, like you're having these 2 9s. This is definitely the end of one phase. Absolutely. So anything that was bringing you nightmare, your worst nightmare, you know, I'm going to meet a person who is a hobo, or, you know, I'm going to be alone for the rest of my life. Come on, stop telling yourself crap that is not true. And I guess what? Going back to your friends, ask them, what is the best about me? Right? It's like my friends told me, you shouldn't be dating online. Your biggest strength is really how smart you are. You need to be in an environment where people are just not, you know, skin deep judging. So you need to ask your friends, so what is the best thing about me? And even if it's online, you're going to tell them. And don't keep yourself into the regular process, right? So need to kind of like put your fears down, like whatever is causing these kind of like nightmarish situation, it's kind of like time to kind of let it go, because I do see lots of things that have happened in the past that are still upsetting you. This kind of like tells me that sometimes at night, and some of you could be still under recent influence of some kind of breakup, and that could be that codependency card that kind of like kicked through it, that there's like that intensity in a situation. I have to, I cannot breathe, I cannot talk about it, right? So fears are just that, they're fears. That's because you're thinking about the past and, oh my gosh, this is what happened to me, or the future, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be with this person, or something in that. You know, it is kind of like something that generally has no connection to the reality. So you need to kind of like put things back in perspective, and friends are really good to kind of like really straighten you out. Real friends. Don't ask for somebody to sweet talk you, but also, you know, ask people to truly kind of like help you through it, because friends just really want the best for you, and they don't really have any reason to tell you anything but the truth. So your feelings, there we go, we are back to awesome. We are having Fire King. Fire King is upright, dating ready, commitment ready. So it could be somebody coming right straight to your heart, that soulmate. It could be a fire sign, and it could be an air sign as well. And you also have water, and you have also air, so all of the things, but some of things are standing more prominent. Fire King is not only that person just like takes you places, or you take them places and you truly enjoy. So you might feel like being on top of the world. You might feel like, oh, you know, this is a fit. Or after a while, like maybe you're just going to be a show off, maybe in the beginning with someone, and then the person is just not going to take you seriously, and it's going to be like so friendly that things are just going to flow. And this is kind of like also talking about possibly you having this like new fire in the belly, new enthusiasm about how to move and go forward. This is the environment, good kitty, and good kitty is reversed. So this is my karma card. So it was this karmic situation. So something has been happening over here, guys, was for a reason. So you are supposed to learn this lesson, and I have already told you what the lesson is. You're carrying these burdens, you're carrying these fears, you're suffering because of something that happened, but this was supposed to be a lesson. So you have to figure out what the lesson was, right? So there is like good kitty that gets rewarded, but when it kind of like reverses, we have to kind of like go back and say, okay, and be candid with yourself in the privacy of your home, in the quietness, and just, you know, judge yourself honestly and assess what you need to change in order to fulfill the greater purpose of your life, and look clearly in your errors, in your failings, right? And you need to come to that place of self-acceptance and clarity about yourself. And there are people around you who need you. I can see that they're like clearly your friends. This could be your family, and kind of like the strength you brought to them. They're like other people who just like see something in you and are looking at you in a really, really good way. But there is like a need, that something you need to do, and I think you need to forgive to some people. But there is like one clearly person that you need to forgive to yourself. And too much pressure, just like take it easy over things. So hopes and fears, and we have this 10 of C. Well, that would make sense, right? 10 of C is like about everything is in order, everything is lovely, everything is loving, look at the family together. And I definitely do see here there could have been an issue with the family, you know, dynamics, that it could be an issue with how things are perceived as well, not necessarily what happened, right? So when this kind of like reverses, and maybe there were like strife because you were too much together, and it caused kind of like a strife, or, you know, irritability, or you kind of like feel crowded. Maybe there are expectations from your family, and if this is talking about those of you who are already in relationships with someone, maybe you need to have some solo time, right? Versus just having this like little kind of like package deal together. So hope is it's kind of like very, very divided for you. You kind of like really want this family, you want this legacy, you want things to be done, but at the same time you're realizing that me time and kind of like going deep inside of yourself. So it's going to be a lot of me time in order to reach some conclusions, and the moment when you shed certain things, you actually are really, really moving forward. Oh boy, you're going to kind of probably kick me for being so long on this reading, but really there are lots of good messages, and I'm really, really enjoying doing that. So whenever something shows up that is not so good, that I see it, I better tell you, because there's like something you need to deal with in order to move forward. Look, this is a kitty that everybody's bringing stuff, the victory. You are moving ahead. This is also connecting to this like soulmate kind of like a feel, and it looks like that soulmate is going to be, and again it's this fire, like that fire is coming through. So be active in meeting others. Yeah, you might meet a few frogs and when you kiss them, they're not going to be prince. So don't push this down on you, kind of blame yourself about that. Just take it for what it is. So I don't really have much to confirm, but I really want to see these two things, because there is like that essence of things are kind of like, some of you feel burned, that you don't want to kind of like, you know, go ahead. So let's check about it. What was this 3 of sky for Capricorn? I just saw 2222 on my video, and there is room reversed and there is friend reversed. So this is intimate friend or friends with benefits stuff. Maybe you have been involved in a situation of that kind, and it was lots of intimacy without real friendship, as usually friends with benefit is. It's really never working out. But some people hope, well, if we go this way, everything will work out. The reason why people are in this kind of combination, because one person doesn't want to commit or doesn't want to do anything serious, and they are calling that in a very nice way, and friends don't do each other something that can be hurtful to the other person, so hence it's misnomer, right? But it also could mean that maybe you got yourself in a situation where you were having hopes and the other person was just like simply not offering this to you. And again, you have to go back to your real friends with whom you're not sleeping and ask them for their opinion and their view, and how would they feel if they are in the situation. If they don't know the situation, you can just talk hypothetically, kind of a thing, right? So let me see this 5 of C, and it's kind of like definitely you found yourself in an odd element. And again, let me see this water here, ebb and flow. Things will go up and those things will surface. When they surface, let it go. So what is that 5 of C for Capricorns? And we see Scholar and a Lady. Oh my gosh, this is almost like the same combination I had for another sign. So it looks like people did tell you. People did tell you to not go, do not do that. It will cost you. It's not going to be good. You didn't listen. You said, what the heck, I'm doing this anyway. Old woman to me is always like quality advice from somebody maybe even older, but it could be even parents, right? And think, what the heck, And you were trying to find and make sense. Maybe you're doing your research, maybe you're doing things on the internet, but this is really telling me this is what you need. You need a comfortable place. It's again going back to, you need to find loving people in your life. And if you really don't have anybody like that, because we have less and less, please come on morning sessions that I have on Saturday morning, 11 Eastern Standard Time. Really, everybody's a friend there, and you would not believe how embraced you will be. And that is like what is really lovely. It has this kind of like healing thing, plus you're contributing to the energy of the reading. So that's all that I need to see over here, guys. It's going to be really awesome. So awesome part is like that you're able to kind of like clean that internal whatever mess and sort things out, and to realize, wait a minute, like, why am I feeling that I'm a loser? Why do I feel like I have lost something? Why do I feel inadequate? Why do I feel I always have to be higher and better and perfectionist? How about that I'm being loved just as I am? And I don't care where you are, what is like baseline. I'm too old, because I did ask somebody on Facebook. I posted, why do you think you're single? Oh, I'm too old, I am too fat, I'm too this, to this, to this. Well, what do you think? 90% of us here in North America are like that, right? So nobody would ever meet anybody if you go with that logic. So ponder that for a little bit. So let me see, one more, not this deck, the other one. I want to give you one more card to seal the reading, and it's going to be advice. Okay, for Capricorn, no, not 5. I just want 1. Capricorn, only 1 card for advice. So I want it really to be concise. Capricorn, and this one. And it's compass, it's reversed. So you guys, you need to troubleshoot your compass. That is like clearly showing over here, right? So maybe it's not on north, and that's what I saw it along the reading. So let me read this for you. It says, what is your higher power right now? What you constantly focus on long enough becomes your higher power. So guys, you need to kind of like put it in perspective. If you worry about financial insecurity, materialism is your idol. If you obsess over a relationship, that's your god. If you're concerned about your weight or your looks or your status, you lost your personal power and your way. Nothing but spirit can be your guiding force. You'll never truly find what you seek if these worries and distractions are your constant focus. Surrender and shift your compass. Be still and watch as the needle points to true north. Align yourself and you will easily find your way back to where you're meant to be. You guys are awesome. So make sure you're checking your ascendant, you're checking your moon sign, and hello, I'm expecting like lots of private readings. So check me out on cattarot.ca, and my info is in the description. Love you guys. All the best.